Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the world famous podcast, Beat the Press. Your two hosts, myself, Ty, got the brilliant Chris with us as well. We finally got there. We've been talking about it for about 3 months, I think. The World Cup preview show is finally here. We've done all the World Cup from 1990 up to 2018. So if you've not had a chance to watch them, just the links down below. Please do. As always, we only talk about football. If that's your kind of thing, please subscribe, share it with your friends and family. You never know, someone might like it. On to today's episode, because we've got a lot of stuff to get through. We're going to jump straight in. So, we're super excited about World Cup. The conversation about whether it's right or wrong, it's not for this podcast. This podcast, we're just focusing on our predictions and a bunch of other stuff. And Chris has done most of the planning, so I'm going to pass over to him.
As always, yeah. So obviously, really excited to the World Cup, and I've got my England top ready on. Ty, I don't see you wearing any kind of Italy top. Does it feel?
This
does
is
it feel
blue. This is blue, and it's the team that I think will win it as well. So it's Argentina. This is Argentina's top.
That's a spoiler. That's a spoiler.
Sorry.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to those. Yeah. Has it quite kicked in yet that your team are not going to be there?
It kicked in a while ago. It kicked when Jorginho missed those late penalties and then decides to score for Chelsea. Yeah, so no, it kicked in a while ago. I think there was a lot of obviously angry bodies and faces, but it was just a freak. I mean, I think sometimes I don't even think it's anything to do with football. It's just written in the stars and the way they've obviously gone on. They've beaten England in the Nations League and anything where it matters, to perform. They're one of the best in the world. So it's just something. It's just freaky with it. You either turn up and win it, or they just don't bother turning up at all, which is fine. At least we're European champions.
Yeah. You had to get that one in, didn't you?
Did I? Really? I didn't even realise that came out of my mouth.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, we've been building up to the World Cup, and with it only being a few days away now on Sunday, we wanted to do our predictions. As Ty mentioned, we've just been getting ourselves overexcited with all the World Cups, and as it's got closer and closer, I just can't wait. Now, obviously, we've got a number of groups that we're going to go through, so we're going to kind of fly through the initial groups. We're going to go through the knockout stages as well, and then we're going to take you all the way to the finalists and give you our combined final, maybe our winner. We're going to try and agree on most things, and then we're going to finally give you a last few categories, kind of like who we think is going to be top goal scorer, etc., golden ball, best player, that type of thing. So first off, we're going to kick it off with Group A. Qatar, the hosts, Ecuador, Senegal, and the Netherlands. How do you see this group going, Ty?
No surprises for me. I think it'll be Holland in the second spot. I think it'll be between Senegal and Ecuador. You'd expect Senegal to go through, but Ecuador are no mugs. The South American teams are always so tough. Do you know what I mean? They generally get, they've got some good players. I'll lean towards Senegal just because the African champions, they've got Sadio Mane, even though we're finishing the first game. If you go through Senegal's team, they've got players that play in the top teams. You've got Koulibaly, Mendy plays for him. They've obviously got Sadio Mane, Koyate. The names, there's a lot of players that play in the top leagues.
Yeah, I think the runner-up of that group is obviously determined between the game that they play against each other.
Exactly, yeah.
Ecuador, no mugs. They've got some strong players in their team. But Qatar, home nation, we normally fancy a home nation to kind of reach into.
Yeah, I mean that's the reason why. That's another reason why I think Senegal, because the first game is Ecuador and Qatar, and a lot of momentum is gained by that first game. Do you know what I mean? The host nation and all that. So I think it'll be a tough. I can see that ending up in a draw. Whereas Qatar further down the line, I'd expect Senegal to beat them. The other thing with it is Qatar. They've obviously got players that are Brazilians and whatnot. So they're not all, what they call the nationalised Qataris, aren't they? So yeah, I think it'll be tough, but I think that's how that's how I think it'll end.
No worries. We're going to skip Group B. We're going to come back to that as the last group game. We're going to go straight on to Group C with Argentina. I'm going to go with Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. How do you see this one going?
Argentina, Mexico, Poland, and Saudi Arabia.
Argentina, Mexico, Poland, and Saudi Arabia. You just see that the Argentinians being just too strong for the group, and Poland and Mexico.
I'd expect them two again. They'll be fighting for that second spot, but I just think Mexico always do well in World Cups. They've just got, majority of those players are playing in the MLS or in the Mexican League, but both those leagues. Regardless of what we think and say, they're good leagues. The strong leagues, and the way that it's more than that. It's the way the Mexicans play it when it comes to the World Cup as well. Saudi Arabia, I think, will just be making up the numbers.
Yeah, well, Saudi Arabia, I think a lot of their players play for the same team, Al Hilal, I want to say.
Don't get me wrong. I genuinely don't think there'll be any whipping boys in this tournament.
No,
I don't think there'll be any 6 or 7s. You know what I mean? I think all games. I can't see many teams getting beat by more than 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say about Saudi Arabia. They've got a lot of the same players playing the same team, so they might have a little bit of cohesion that manage to maybe scrape a draw from one of them, maybe a Poland. But I agree with you on that one as well. So moving on to Group D, which is France, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia. Tough-ish start for France.
Yeah, I go. To my surprise, it's actually not surprising. Denmark, Tunisia, France, Australia.
France, Australia. Wow. Right. Talk about the elephant in the room.
So normally we've spoke about obviously previous World Cups where the winners of the World Cup, the following World Cup, they'll struggle to get out of the group. And I think this has got all the ingredients for that to happen. It's a tough group. Denmark, I think, are going to go far. I could even see him finishing bottom. The French midfield is really poor. It's like really poor. They've obviously got you got Mbappe, Benzema. I think they spring out they're brilliant. And defence is good as well. But I just think there's and the keeper's got a ricket in him all the time. This isn't a great. They've got great players. I don't think it's a great team.
No.
I'll have egg on my face when they end up winning the group and the tournament. But that's where I'm going with it at the moment. That's my reason behind it.
Yeah, I think you're right. 2006, I think, was the last time that the winners got through to the group stages. So so I think I agree with you. I would have went Denmark, France, but I do think they'll get through just because of Australia and Tunisia, decent team. Don't get me wrong, but I just think France will have too much. But I am going to put that bet on that France don't qualify because that's Ty's tip, just in case you didn't see the last one. Next, we've got another strong group, Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. Ty, correct me if I don't say any of these badges right, but I'm going to go with Costa Rica on that one. So, what do you think?
I was going through the groups yesterday, the day before, and I looked at that group and I thought, Spain and Germany, that is an unbelievably tough group. And Japan and Costa Rica are good sides as well. Costa Rica, I think we're at the last World Cup or the World Cup before, where they, the one where when they got further than Italy, and there's a Uruguay, England, wasn't it? It was England in that same group. Costa Rica are no mugs. I'd expect, I can see this being another one where Germany potentially don't make it. I think Spain, either one of them two, don't make it, and either Japan or Costa Rica can go through. And if it happens, it'll obviously be a shock, but I wouldn't be massively surprised because the games obviously against Spain and Germany, whoever loses that, they're obviously almost in a situation where they've got to win the other 2 games. I think it's a tough group, that I really do. And the obvious one is obviously Spain and Germany, but I think when we look at it a bit deeper, I could quite easily see one of the other, smaller nations popping through because you know what Japan are like anyway. They'd always set up well, and they play with a lot of energy. And the other thing we've not taken into consideration the weather. I know it's cooler, but it'll still be hot. So what are players how are they going to acclimatise to that? So I think it's a really tough one. This, I'm going to go Spain, Japan, Germany, Costa Rica.
Wow, Spain, Japan, Germany, and Costa Rica. Okay, for the record, I was going to go Germany, Spain, and possibly Spain to miss out, and Japan to be.
It might well be that way. It's the one I'm not very confident with.
Yeah, it's a toss up. Moving on to Group F, we've got Belgium, Canada, Morocco, Croatia. Who are you going with that?
Tough one. I'm going to go.
It's very tough. If you take out the Canadians, are actually managed by an English fella. I can't remember his name.
They're a good side as well. Canada, not a bad side at all. They're no mugs.
But I think other than Alphonso Davies, and I can't remember the other player that I familiarised myself with. I'm just
The
going to put
winger,
them
innit?
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just going to put them there. I'm just going to put them there, and you can work through the rest, unless you
yeah.
disagree.
Belgium, Croatia, Morocco. It's a tight one though. That could literally be any which
Belgium.
way.
Yeah, Croatia, Morocco. Yeah, I agree with you on Belgium. Lukaku potentially, obviously De Bruyne for me, up there with the best player in the world at the moment. They've also got Trossard, who's played very well so far this season. Tielemans, and also I don't know whether it was start or anything. The young lad from Leicester who started quite well.
Centre half, he's going to
good.
be. He's their best centre half. He's just coming in because Tongan and Ado, even though they're in the shit. Again, I think the Belgians' time to win it was, a few years. Their golden generation is going to die a death like England's did. They've obviously got phenomenal player Kevin De Bruyne. They've got some brilliant players scattered about, but he's obviously a standout one. So I don't think they're going to be any. They might qualify, they might not. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. I just think their era of being good, they weren't really ever good, but you know what I mean, of being talked about as potential winners is over.
Yeah. So Group G, we've got Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. Now this is a tough group as well.
I know. I think I can see this quite through. I go Brazil, Switzerland, Cameroon, and Serbia.
Brazil, Switzerland, Cameroon, and that was easy for you.
Because Switzerland, I mean, I know you're looking at Cameroon and Serbia thinking, Serbia's everyone's dark horse, and they've been for about 20 years, haven't they? But Switzerland and a team, they always get through to knockout stages, and they're horrible to play in these tournaments. They're a really good tournament team.
Yeah.
You look at the players and think, oh, no, he's not great. He's not. And you're thinking, why is Jadon Shaqiri still playing? They're a good tournament team, and they never get, like if you go back, in 2014 game against Argentina, they just got to be in extra time late on as well against Argentina, where obviously they're a tough nut to crack at Switzerland. I think Cameroon, there's nothing about Cameroon that's in. Serbia could potentially, they've got some good players, obviously they are, but I just think Switzerland is a team and a better tournament team.
Yeah, well, Switzerland. I just think they've got aging stars. Granit Xhaka is obviously going well in the Premier League. I just think that for me, they will miss out, and I think Serbia will take that. But like you say, it is difficult. Cameroon went well in the African nations, so. There is a few groups where the top one's kind of nailed on, but the rest of them you don't know where it's going to go. Lastly, we've got Group H, which is Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea. Who are you going with that?
That's a really tough.
That's a tough group.
I can see those 4 teams being in any 4 positions in Group H. I will go that far. I can genuinely see any of those positions, any of those teams winning it, and any of those teams finishing bottom.
Okay, I'm going to give you mine. I'm going to go 1, 2. Ghana were very poor in the African nations.
So, I agree. Yeah.
If Son is fit, I can see them competing for that second spot. But that's going to be my order. Uruguay, very strong, particularly top towards the top of the end of the.
I went through their squad though. Defensively, they've got some good players scattered about, but I don't know about them being. I mean, they've got Freddie Valverde in midfield, phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? But then they don't have much support for him in there. They've obviously got Darwin Núñez, Suarez, and Cavani at 35.
Very top heavy.
And I'm just looking at it. I'm thinking they're a very aging team. They've got Diego Godin, who's about 57. They've just teams very old, and over reliance on some of those. They've got obviously you got Jimenez, Valverde, Darwin Núñez, Muslia. That's his spine, and then it's I don't know. I think it might be the one where they don't get. But again, it's again that South American mentality when it comes to World Cup tournaments. They just get there's a real camaraderie and. Never say die attitude about them, and they're horrible to play against. So, I don't know. I can see that group finishing any which way.
England's group last but not least, Group B, England, Iran, USA, Wales. Which order are you going to go in this one?
I think Iran's bottom. Let's go Iran bottom, get them out of the way. And then I think those 3 could finish in any 3. I don't, because England they've got no sort of form at all. If we look at they have played well in the last 2 tournaments. England top. We'll go England top. USA and then Wales.
Yeah, I thought I'd let you go first, since though you've got a non-biased, almost non-biased opinion. But yeah, Iran. I think they're managed by is it Quizero?
Carlos Queiroz.
Yeah, yeah. So they might have a little bit about them, bit of organisation, but yeah, that's as far as it goes. Wales. I think they will finish above USA just
Could
because.
well be, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I saw the USA team today. They've got some really good players, and I'm looking if you come. Yeah,
Dest.
you got Wilson McKennie as well from Juve. You've got Tyler Adams. They've got Aronson from Leeds. They've got they've got Tim Ream, Anthony Robinson from Fulham. They all play for top teams, whereas Wales are more like Championship, aren't they? And they're very and they're relying everything on Gareth Bale and making sure you don't get injured.
Yeah, we'll probably go into a little bit more in depth in England, but I don't think England are going to win all 3 games. I think they might even qualify with 1 win and 2 draws.
Yeah.
I could quite easily see that happening. So based off our picks, these are the last 16, the round of 16. So first and foremost, we've got Netherlands versus the USA.
Oh, that's a tough one. I will go with Holland, and yeah, I'll go Holland.
Okay. Yeah, they've got I like the way that they announced the team. Did you see the video with Hiddink, where he was sat in a chair like Michelle Pfeiffer reading out his national squad, and the names were going on behind him? It was brilliant. Yeah, okay. But yeah, they've got some exciting players. Obviously, you've got Van Dijk, the usual, but they've also called up Cody Gakpo, who's a quality player that I really like, and Xavi Simons. So look forward to seeing them.
Argentina.
Yeah, Argentina, Tunisia. We're not going to waste our time, so let's go.
Argentina.
Yeah, and then we go Spain or Croatia. That's a tasty one.
I go Spain.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Brazil, Portugal.
I think Portugal.
Portugal. Okay. England, Senegal.
England.
I think that very much depends on if Sadio Mane plays.
Yeah, Denmark.
Yeah, you're going Denmark over Mexico.
Yeah.
Even the conditions?
Yeah, I think Denmark are a very, very good team. Yeah. I think the experience they got in the Euros will help them massively as well. And if you think about it, they got that far without Christian Eriksen.
Yeah,
he's obviously going to be there. And I think the Brentford duo in the middle are really good. But they defend. They've probably got the strongest defensive central defenders. If you go through them, they've got some really good players. And I think the only bit where they might fall down is the front lads. The goal scorers. But they were fine in the Euros. I think they'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah. Belgium or Japan?
Belgium.
Uruguay versus Switzerland.
Oh, so that's a penalty shootout, that, and I go Uruguay.
Uruguay, you heard it here first. Yeah. So there we have it. We've got our quarterfinals. So we'll move on to the Netherlands versus Argentina.
Argentina.
Spain, Portugal. That's a toss-up.
Portugal.
Okay. England versus Denmark. This is a rerun of. Is it?
That's what I mean.
I think, and it was a close game.
But they were without Eriksen. I think Denmark. I think they would have learned from that. I go Denmark.
I think you go into that with optimism as an England fan.
Of course you do. It could go either way that way. I've just
No, we'll go with Denmark. Belgium and Uruguay.
I think Uruguay.
Okay. So England could potentially be up against Uruguay in the semi-final of a World Cup if it goes their way. Argentina versus Portugal. Argentina. Cristiano versus Messi one last time, I think.
Oh, Argentina, I think.
Argentina and Denmark, Uruguay.
I think Denmark.
Wow. Okay. So this sets up Christian Eriksen versus Messi final.
Yeah.
Who are you going to go with? Who's going to win the World Cup?
Messi.
Wow. Right, so we're missing some secondary
predictions. That'll be second and third, or pick scores for it. We don't need to do that.
Yeah, we don't need to do that. So we're gonna go with Argentina to win the World Cup. So now we're gonna go over to what our predictions were. So Ty hasn't seen my results. I've seen Ty's results. There was 1 or 2 where I was kind of in between. So on those ones where we've went similar, I've kind of went the opposite way just to make a difference. So we went with winners. Ty, who did you go with?
I went Argentina.
Yeah. I went with Brazil.
Oh.
Well, the reason why I went with Brazil is because I had Argentina to win it. I think they've been unbeaten now for around about 35-ish games, Argentina. I know they have a lot of friendlies where they're playing against like Jamaica and Honduras and all that, but they're still a sound team overall. But I think I like the balance that Brazil have, particularly like Casemiro, Paqueta. Like you know all the names that go around the team, like Neymar and Vinicius. But the players that are going to dig in, like Marquinhos and Thiago Silva, I think they're going to be strong. But again, for me, it's a toss up between the two of them. Top goal scorer. Who did you have, Ty?
Messi, if I remember right.
Yeah, Messi or Martinez, I think you went with. So I went with Neymar. Now, again, I went with Martinez if Argentina were going to win it, but I changed it at the last second for Neymar because I think, this will be a tournament where he'll be taking penalties. I just think maybe he might pull it off. If he does, he'll go down as one of the all-time greats with Brazil. There's no particular fundamentals. I'm just changing it because basically we would have had the same answers. Golden Glove. Who did you go with? Alisson. Okay. Nope. This wasn't Diogo Costa. This was originally Portuguese keeper, but I am going to go with Martinez. I'm going to change that. I forgot to change it. It's Martinez.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've looked over Argentina's statistics over the last few games, and I kept them going up, and also kept on seeing was clean sheet. And I think over the last 14, they conceded 4 goals. So I'm going to go with Martinez, contrary to what that says. Dark horse.
Denmark for me.
Denmark, yeah. Well, I went with Serbia, the ones that you've written off. I just think, they've got a few strong teams. I know what you're saying. It's the same what everybody says every year.
I do agree with you. I think they're one of those. I mean, again, they're just complete guesses, but I can see where you're coming. They've been dark horses for a number of years. Spain were the same. They were almost nearly men. There's got to be a tournament at some point where they click, and it is a new breed of player to an extent. And the players that they've got a variety of different. They've got Vlahovic plays for Juve. They've got Kostic plays for Juve. Mitrovic plays for Thingy. They've got some really, really good players.
Tadic, Milinkovic-Savic, yeah. So some good players there. Obviously, you gave your reasons on Denmark. Young player of the tournament. You weren't so.
Pedri, but I wasn't sure because he's not really. You said young player or emerging player, and I thought, do you know what? Everyone knows what Pedri, but Pedri, we watched him in that semi-final.
He's class.
He's just unbelievable. And I think when you sometimes with English supporters and fans and Gareth Southgate as well, when a player's not playing in the Premier League, it's out of sight, out of mind. So you forget about Pedri. You will watch these players in the tournament and be like, wow, there's unbelievable talent out there in the world, and we're just banging on about the Premier League, So Pedri for me, I think is a superstar. He's a superstar already, but he's not really going to be, he'll be challenging for Ballon d'Ors in years to come.
Yeah, Pedri, I'm a massive fan of him. I'm kind of hoping that it's going to be Bellingham. I'm hoping it's going to be Bellingham as the breakout star young player of the tournament. But Musiala, if like Spain, if Germany go deep into the tournament, for me, he's played for Bayern around about 14 times, scored around about 9 goals. For me, if he manages to get good game time for them, I'm hoping that he is the one. I'm kind of devastated that he didn't play for England, but there you go. Biggest letdown?
France.
Okay. And I went with Spain. So you obviously state your reasons for France. Do you think it's purely down to no? You actually mentioned the midfield, didn't you?
Yeah, I think the midfield. You look at that midfield, I think that's weak. I think the group's kind of tough as well because don't write Australia off. I think they're it's a tough group. I mean, all the groups are tough to an extent because I don't think there'll be anyone. And that's there's not going to be anyone getting spanked in this tournament. With France as well, I think they've always got there's something. I mean, Hugo Lloris has got a rick in him. I think that was going to cost them as well. We can look at Mbappe and Benzema and think, wow, unbelievable. And I got Nkunku, forward, brilliant. Just the midfield, and I don't know, in wide areas as well, the sort of wide fullback areas. I don't know. I'm not complete. I mean, I might be completely wrong, but I just think history has proven as well. Previous World Cup when it's just almost like, well, we've won it now. And you've got to, with these tournaments, you've got to start right. You've got to make sure you're on the ball from the get-go. Because if you lose your first game, then under pressure. And Spain showed that as well when, they obviously didn't do us too well. I think it was at 2016, 2018, whenever.
2016, yeah. Like with Spain, the reason I put them is like I look at the defense, good defense, midfield, great midfield. Like the players in there are ridiculous. But then I look at the forwards. I can read them off here: Morata, Pino, Ansu Fati, good young player, Ferran Torres, Asensio, Sarabia, Olmo. And then I think back to the Euros where we watched Italy versus Spain last year. Good. Going forward, they were good up until they got into the final third. They couldn't really do anything beyond that.
Yeah.
For me, I just think that they'll struggle. Kind of like what you just mentioned, the 2016 World Cup, where they just didn't really have a forward to rely upon. So I think they're going to be my letdown. So, So those are our predictions. We're going to finish the last 5 minutes on England and the opening game. So, how do you? Obviously, we've got Iran the first game. We're usually setting up on a 3-5-2. There's rumours that it could be a 4-3-3. What would be your advice for England or Gareth Southgate to go out?
Well, I don't think you missed it, but see, there's two schools of thought here. People saying, England need to be more expansive and exciting to play. England have got to a semi-final of World Cup. Sorry, a semi-final of World Cup and a final of European Championships. Yeah. This is... Take the 1966, this is the greatest England team apart from that era. You can look at it whatever in terms of sort of consistency for about 4 or 5 years. England are now becoming a tournament team. There is a special ingredient that you need to win, to do well in tournaments, and that is really tough to beat. Gareth Southgate's identified that, and he thought, right, we've got to be good, strong defensively, whether that's playing 5 at the back or 4 at the back, and with a strong, with 2 holding midfielders. It sometimes does end up where there's a lot of onus on Harry Kane and Raheem Sterling. You get that. The Iran game is, you'd expect England to win that. Iran are going to be no mugs. They're going to defend. You know what the game is going to be like now, and it's not take-back. Iran are going to set up in a low block or pack in the bus, if you like, in old money. England have got to break that down. Okay, so to play with 3-5-2, it's got to be almost a 3-4-3 with having your fullbacks, wing-backs being really high and wide, and then your 3 staying up there as well. But then it's how you break that down as well. It's almost like you go with Rice and Bellingham, because that's what it'll end up being. But it's almost play Trent on the right for the quality, so you've got covered in there. I mean, for me, I'll just quickly go through the team. How I think it could potentially go, and I think I'd like it to go. It almost be Pickford in goal, and then Maguire and Stones, I think, are playing. They're his favourites, regardless of what we think if Maguire's in form, out of form.
Yeah.
You'd imagine Luke Shaw going to play at left back, although there's a chance Trippier could play there because he's done it before. And I'd play Trent either as a right back or a right wing back for our first game against Iran, because he ain't going to be doing a lot of defending. You're going to be looking to break down a low block, and then you're going to go Bellingham and Rice, and then I'd just let it go loose. I'd throw Maddison in front of them two. I'd go Foden and Sterling, and then Kane down the middle. That's what I do. But I think it's Mount will always play because that's the way he plays. If he does go with a 3-5-2, I'd play Ben White as the right of the 3. I'd stick Trent on the right. Luke Shaw on left. I'd almost play one of those wingers as wing backs, but I know what Southgate's like. It'll be like pragmatism. We make sure we don't get beat, and then look to create and win, but just make sure you're in a position where you're moving forward. Because the tougher 2 games, the Iran game's it is a must-win game, because the other 2 games are going to be tough and tight. So it's important to get them. What about you?
I think I don't see a world where we don't struggle to beat Iran. We need to get off to that good start, and I want like a nice little 3-0 easy win, something along those lines. But 3-5-2, I've wrote down my exact team. I had Ben White, Maguire, Stones as the 3 at the back, Trent and Shaw, Bellingham, Rice and Maddison, and then Bellingham, Rice, Foden, and then Maddison and Kane as my front. But I don't think that's what it's going to be. I think it's more likely to be Raheem Sterling over, let's say, Maddison.
There's players that are just not going to be that are nailed on the start, regardless of what they form. Yeah. There's Pickford, Maguire, Stones, Rice, Bellingham, not Foden, Kane and Sterling. And I'd actually take Bellingham. I'd say Rice as well. So you got Kane and Sterling, an absolute name.
Yeah,
And Mount as well to an extent.
Yeah, Mount. Yeah, I think obviously I don't know where we see Phillips in this tournament. You know, because of the long layoff that he had. The lack of game time that he had. I think he may be a last 20 minutes in a quarter final, maybe where we're holding on.
I think that he played 45 minutes for Man City, and that's hopefully trying to get him up to speed. I've got no issue with Gareth Southgate picking his squad and picking his team. That's fine, whatever he does. But there's got to be consistency in the messages, and you can't say, "Oh yeah, this guy, we're going to take players with no risk, no injuries." He's taken 2 already. Do you know what I mean? Walker and Phillips, which is like what you're doing. You're not taking Tomori and Abraham, who have been brilliant for a while. And again, it's out of sight, out of mind. You're not in Premier League. You're not going to see him as much. You watched him for a game against Chelsea and he's been shit, or whenever Roma played and he's not been great. You've got to look at over the season, whereas Harry Maguire's not done anything for what he's played. It's favourites. I've got no issues. I used to be manager. I know what it's like. You'll have your favourites and you pick your players because you can trust them. Maguire's proved it in tournament knockout football. That's fine. How we pick a team and how Southgate's 2 very different things. Southgate's obviously done what he's done, but I also do think this could potentially be his last tournament, regardless of how it ends up.
Yeah. Last question for you. You've obviously seen that we went through out the quarterfinals on this. Do you think there's any chance that England will win the World Cup?
There's no one there's not a standout team in it. We can talk about Brazil. There's no one that you look. If England play Brazil, you'd be like, "Oh, we'll play Brazil." I could see one of the top, obviously one of the top nations, but that's why I sort of think Denmark are going to do well, because I think they're a really good team. You're watching the Euros and they had everything in place. So I think, England absolutely have got a chance to win it. They're not going to be the most attractive playing, but they've got a way of playing, and I think that will be successful.
Yeah, that'll do for me. Yeah, so obviously we've got a load of videos, a good catalogue of videos looking back all over the World Cup. So, if you've got a bit of time from now till Sunday just to catch up with it and get a bit of World Cup fever, then why not watch it? As always, like, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. Before we finish, Ty, do you have one last question before the World Cup begins?
Yeah, question of the day, a really simple one. Is it coming home? That's it.
Answer yes down below. Yeah, I'm going to go with a yes, Ty. Simple yes or no.
No.
Okay, no worries. Right, guys, put your comments down below. As always, it's been Kristian, Ty. Thanks for watching.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.